Hey, you guys, if you are on a social selling journey or a network marketing journey and you've got really big goals and you want to help reach those goals, or if you've been on this journey for a while but you feel like you're constantly hitting a wall, you set really big goals for yourself, you're fired up about those goals, you're super duper motivated, and then life gets in the way and you fall off track, or you're just feeling like you're frustrated, right? Like those goals feel so far away, you see other people achieving the goals that you've set for yourself. This video is for you. So I want to dig into the three main ways that social sellers and network marketers are holding themselves back from their goals. So on your quest to make more money in the online social selling space, there are three main gaps that I see, and I'm going to help you overcome all of those gaps and give you some tips as well. Give you some tips and tricks to kind of push further than you've ever pushed before and to hit those goals that I know matter to you. So I know that we are all seeking consistent income and income that matches the effort that we're putting forward, and passive income that, is showing up while we sleep. I know that we all want to work with women and an engaged team that's excited to work. I know that when we post, all we really want is someone to talk back, right? So let's talk about the things that may be keeping you stuck. I have discovered after working with women in this industry for well over a decade that there are three main gaps that the majority of them seem to fall into. And I want to kind of walk you through them and also give you some tips for how to move past them and almost kind of push yourself past them. So comment below if one of these gaps speaks directly to you. There may be a few of you that also find that you fall into a couple of these different gaps. So I'm hopefully going to give you some strategies to work through these so that you can start achieving those goals. So you can start having consistent income, consistent activity inside your business, and all of that good stuff. So the first gap that I see that is very, very common is the belief gap. So you don't truly believe that you are capable of it. Or alternatively, you don't believe that it's actually possible, right? So you may see other people out there achieving what you want to achieve, but deep down, when you set that goal for yourself, you're like, you know what? I don't even know that I'm capable of that. And that is really, really normal, right? We struggle in this industry with a lot of imposter syndrome. We show up, we want the things, but like we're in the back of our heads, there's this little nagging voice that is like, well, you've never done it before, or are you going to actually stick with it this time? So, or you're like, you know what? I don't even know that this is actually even possible. So, the way to overcome this one is to look for the proof and to surround yourself with your cheerleaders, right? You need to start to tune out anybody that trips you up, right? And I actually talk a lot about this, curating your social media experience. So if you find yourself falling into that imposter syndrome, if you find yourself falling into self-doubt, overthinking, etc., because when you go online, you see like all these you see all this noise, right? That feels like it's holding you back. Start curating your social media experience, okay? Put like accounts that like motivate you, inspire you, push you forward. Tune out and stop following the ones that make you feel anything less than that. And make sure that you surround yourself with cheerleaders. When they say that the top 5 people that you surround yourself with have massive impact on you, that's correct. So if you have someone in your life right now that doesn't believe in you, doesn't believe in the industry, whatever it is, don't stop talking to that person entirely, but stop bringing them into your business conversations. The trickier piece about this is if they're your spouse, because I've had a lot of clients over the years where their spouse isn't super duper supportive. And a really powerful element to success in this industry is having a supportive spouse. But if they are not supportive, I want you to ask yourself, like, what is it that you need to prove in order to get them on board? And then I want you to just become resolute with that goal that you're going to go out there and you're going to actually prove it to them. Okay. And baby steps, my friend. You don't have to be making 6 figures overnight. to be able to prove that this business is viable to drive income and change your family's life. But I also think you need to be honest with the people in your life that you have goals, that this is what you desire and this is why you desire it, right? Because when we kind of keep our goals in here, then it can be really, really challenging for them to help to get on board with them because they don't actually know what those goals are. So it's really important, if you have that belief gap, to help you overcome it is surround yourself in proof, and proof that motivates you. So if you, one of the things that I have found really helpful throughout my own journey is I will look at success stories. And it's not necessarily about figuring out how they got there, though I love that element as well. But I know if it's possible for them, then it's possible for me, because I know that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that level of success, that I don't necessarily have a timeline. It doesn't have to happen by next week, but if it's possible for them, it is possible for me. And that should hopefully help you to bridge that belief gap. And I think you need to head to your journal in these moments and really call yourself on this, right? Be your biggest hype person. Start every single day with positive affirmations. I am capable. I am strong. I will overcome this. I will achieve this. Put post-it notes around your bathroom that cheer you on, that remind you of your goals, remind you why they're possible, right? So hopefully you can start to bridge the gap that you have between what you want and what you believe yourself capable of. All right, the second gap, and I think this one might be the biggest gap that I see, is the consistency gap. So you get started, but you constantly stop. Hands up, hands in the air, get into the comments if this is you. So you wake up one morning, you're super motivated, you're really excited, you jump out of bed, you write down these really big goals for your business. You create a plan, you map out your actions, and then the next day you wake up and you don't feel the same way. Or you're consistent with it for a week, maybe two, but then your kids get sick, or your husband is, going for a promotion, or his workload is heavier and he's out of the house more. So a lot of the load starts to fall on you. Or you get sick, or your 9 to 5 gets really super duper busy. And all of a sudden, the goals that you were super motivated for feel further out of reach because your plate is more full. So you stop for a little bit, right? Hands up in the air if this is you. And that consistency piece falls off. But what I need you to remind you of in this moment is the business you are building today is actually your success story 60 to 90 days from now, right? So your business in 60 to 90 days from now are based on the activities you're doing now. So if you can't be consistent, you're never really going to hit that 60 to 90. And one of the number one things that kills our businesses is the stop and the start, because you don't necessarily stop from where you ended up, where you ended, right? You have to actually start probably 10 steps behind where you fell off the wagon. So if you can just stay consistent, and I'm actually going to teach you exactly how to do this inside the next video, but the strategy that I use is to compile two different lists. One is your baseline activity list, and this is the foundation of the things that you need to do every single day to keep the lights on in your business. It's not the way that you grow your business, it's just the way that you keep those lights on. So it's your baseline activity list. These are the things that you need to do, even when shit hits the fan, even when there's no time for anything else. You are dedicated to those activities, and there's no excuse that will get in your way of doing those activities. That list typically takes my clients about 20 minutes a day. And I think every single one of us that is building a business can get past our excuses for 20 minutes a day, right? The next list that I will teach you is called your power hour. And your power hour will break down what you do each day of the week when you have more time to work your business. Now, you want your power hour to obviously be the majority of your life, but you do want to be able to fall back on your baseline activity list so that, again, even when life unravels, your kids get sick, your husband's busier at work, you're busier in life, whatever, you still are dedicated to that list. This is what is going to help you bridge the consistency gap, okay? Because when you dedicate yourself to this list and you actually commit to this list, you're going to be amazed at the momentum that you can build in your business. And again, I'm going to dig into that inside the next training. I'm going to teach you exactly how to build that list. And I will actually also give you, and you can grab this in the notes section below, I will also give you a free copy of my own baseline activity and a little bit of a training on that. You can grab that below. That will help you get that set up. But here's the thing, you guys. You have to be able to commit to that baseline activity list, right? In order to have consistent income, in order to build a business, we need to treat it as more like a business than a hobby. A hobby is something you pick up and you put away whenever you have time in life. It's something that you simply do for enjoyment. A business is something that you do consistently, and you do it even when you're not motivated, even when you're not excited, even when you don't feel like it. And I actually think that one of the biggest myths in life is that we are motivated, right? I want to tell you that like 80% of the time, I'm not necessarily motivated to do what I need to do in my business, but it doesn't matter because I'm dedicated to my business. And motivation is never a determining factor on if I do it or not. Habits are always going to be more impactful for you than motivation ever will be, right? Okay, so that's your consistency gap. If you fall into this one, I understand your frustration, right? Because the stop and the start, it really never feels like you get your business off the ground, right? You're just finding a role, then something happens in life, and then you try to come back to it 3 weeks later, but you're like, it feels uncomfortable again. And like, this is a pattern that I see so many social sellers and network marketers fall into, which is why I created my baseline activity list. It's why I coach every single woman that comes into my life to create one of these for herself, because this will help keep you on track, and it will help you build a business even in those days where you don't have a single extra second in your life, right? And I think as moms, as women, we have a lot of those days. I know at least that I do. Okay, the third gap that I see most often is the action gap. So you set all the goals, but you never take consistent action on those goals, right? So this kind of goes back to what I said in the last gap. It's like you wake up one morning, you're super motivated and you're super excited. So you set these big goals, you decide on your plan, and then like 2 or 3 days later, you kind of fall off because you're not feeling that motivation. You're not feeling that excited. And as women, we go through, like, we're cyclical, right? We don't feel the same way every single moment that we wake up. In fact, we just don't. Like, we have hormones, we have like, when some days I'm like, oh, it would be so nice to be a male who wakes up with like kind of like the say like a baseline energy level. Women are not built the same way. So I think we've created this like belief in ourselves that like we need to be motivated to work our businesses. And so I see women in my world fall into this all the time. The action gap. They just don't take regular action on the goals that they've set for themselves and the business that they're building. And so that start and that stop is like causing them like absolute havoc in their business, right? So while we chatted about the baseline activity list as being a really good way to break free from like the consistency gap, it will also help you in the action gap. But I also have another quick little tip for you. And one of the reasons why people are motivated by goals in different ways. And some people are motivated by really big goals that feel out of reach. They inspire them, they get them out of bed. This is me. I love to set goals that feel like well out of reach, and it motivates me. Some people shut down with those kinds of goals, and they're like, whoa, like I can't see myself achieving that. So I don't even know how to move towards that. So what I teach some of my clients to do is create like a timeline of events from where you are right now to where you desire to be. And so that you almost create a pathway to that goal. So on that day that you wake up and you're motivated and you're set that big goal and you're creating a plan, what I want you to do is break that goal into bite-sized pieces so that all you need to do is move through those bite-sized pieces to move closer to your goal. This, for a lot of my clients, feels far more achievable and like they actually know how to get started. Because sometimes like the overwhelm of thinking of everything that you need to do in order to hit that goal and just how far away you currently are from that goal can shut us down. There is nothing worse than that overwhelm, right? Like an overwhelmed brain, we say, in this world that an overwhelmed brain doesn't buy, but in my world, an overwhelmed client doesn't move. So what I want you to do to help break through that overwhelm, to help break through that action gap, is to take your goal, it's right here, and to take where you are right now and put as many steps as you need in between there. It might be 3, it might be 5, it might be 10. But then when you start to work towards your goal, you're not working on this goal well over here. You're actually working on this nice bite-sized, comfortable goal that you see is totally possible for yourself, right? You can see what you need to do to get to this goal. You can see how that goal is achievable for you. And all of a sudden you break free from that action gap because you know how to do this already. And maybe you've even done it before. So you can start to take consistent action towards that goal. There you go, you guys. I would love you to let me know in the comments if you fall into any of these gaps, if you're a combination of these gaps, which one of these strategies that you're going to use to overcome that gap. And remember, inside the next training, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through my baseline activity list so that you can create yours and you can start working on it every single day. While I always tell my clients that your baseline activity list won't necessarily build your business to like a 6-figure level, it will absolutely create the momentum that you can build on top of it in order to hit that 6-figure business. So I will see you inside the next video.